Hello everyone. What you doing there, playing some Tekkens? Who, me? Well, I'm locked inside with the curtains drawn, enjoying the cold dark. I'm a troglodyte by inclination, and I resent your accusations of degeneracy, but it's very hot outside today. 37 something degrees, 95% humidity, so I'm inside having a double Mai Tai thinking about the Tekken 7 ranking system. So a pretty good day in my book. I hope you're doing okay as well. But I want to talk about rank, specifically in context of upcoming changes. We can only speculate right now, but they are calling Season 4 an overhaul. It's safe to assume that there are major changes on the horizon. And I was on that latest episode of Wave Dash. Thank you so much for watching and supporting that, by the way. We have so much fun making them. But we talked about this topic, and many on the panel felt that the current ranking system isn't very good. I think especially Spaghetti Rip feels that the system is too forgiving for advanced players. It's too easy for them to get to max rank. And Spaghetti Rip is one of those guys where when he opens his mouth and is about to talk about Tekken, I can pretty much know beforehand that I'm going to agree with him, because he said so many things in the past that cut to the bone for me. I really trust his instincts about the game. But I'm also apprehensive because I know so much of the viewership, such a large portion of the player base, never get to max rank, and I hope it's not resentful to talk like that to them. I hope it's not cold. It's the kind of thing I worry about, but he obviously has a point. And the only thing we know about Season 4 is that it's going to have this thing called Tekken Prowess, which is the word they went with. I don't know why they didn't just call it Tekken Power. I don't think I've ever heard anybody use the word prowess. I mean, have you? It's just weird to me. It sounds vaguely European for some reason. It's got me thinking about Craig Ferguson. What do you think about Tekken Prowess, Hammond? I'm Klaus. Tekken Prowess, is this the worst term ever invented? Oh man, why is it so funny? I want to get a tattoo now that says prowess. No, what I'll do is I'll get the word pro on one butt cheek, and I start taking my pants off, and they're like, oh, he's got the word pro on his ass because he's so good at Tekken, in his own opinion. But then I show my other butt cheek, and it says WESS, like the birthmark in the Tenacious D movie. But Tekken Prowess is going to be a thing, and I was thinking about it all morning. I'm very interested, is this going to be a good thing? Is it going to be useful, an indication of something? And I have to say, I'm sort of cautiously pessimistic. It's difficult for me to imagine a version of this number that is really useful. And I could be completely wrong. If you think you know what it is, if you've seen something similar in a different game that you think works, then definitely let me know. But say, for example, that you gain this number when you win a match, but you lose it when you lose. Well, then in that case, it's pretty much the same thing as rank, right? Until you get to Tekken God Prime, and then I guess you can stack prowess on top of your prime. But if that's the case, then it's only really going to impact a very small percentage of the player base, and I don't think that's what they want to do. They want to do something that is going to feel impactful for everybody, because that's a real, system overhaul. But say, for example, that you rank up your main character and you get all of this prowess, and then you start playing another character and you get prowess on them as well, and it just accumulates, because it's bound to your account and not your character. Well, in that case, it's completely, categorically uninteresting to me, because we have character specialists, right? The most interesting and fun players, in my opinion. There's that guy on YouTube, All Times, who makes videos about Lei, and he streams Lei matches. Seems to be, as far as I know, at least the only character he's interested in. I might be wrong, but there are people like that out there. And if a specialist like that gets to like a max rank, and then another player who plays the two most powerful characters that season, maybe the two most overpowered characters in Season 4, there will probably be a couple going by our history. should that person have twice the number of prowess as somebody who has leaned into a deep character but specializes only in that character, exclusively? I don't think so. I mean, me too. I only play like 2 characters at a time. I don't want to spend all the time and energy investing it into a character and ranking it up unless I'm very interested in that character and maybe maining it. So I don't know. Prowess, which is still a funny word, might be useless. It could be very good because I'm just not thinking about it the right way. But let's leave it behind. Let's leave prowess behind for now and talk about rank itself, inflation and stuff like, are there too many people at Tekken God Prime and so on? Well, if we look at the numbers from Olba, thank you again for making those. It's very useful because we get some sort of frame of reference to speak about these things in. Something like 1.3% of the player base is currently capable of getting to Tekken God Prime, but I want to say right away that I think the actual number is much smaller because of a couple of problems that we currently have. For example, we have a pretty severe issue currently with cheaters. You can do a number of things, especially on PC. You can manipulate your save data to rank up with no risk. You can use specific controllers and macros where you can bind frame perfect movement to a single button press, and you can even get mods that automatically parry or block unseeable lows and things like that. Completely non-valid and dishonest ways of getting rank. But then we also have this problem of a poorly balanced roster with a couple of characters that are so good, in my opinion, that if you rank up with them, it doesn't really count either. And so the real number is much smaller, I think, but you could still obviously argue that it's way too big. And I guess this is where we get to the point of inflation, and inflation only really started happening at the beginning of season 2. And what's really interesting about that to me is I think about what the changes actually were, and it turns out that they are quite subtle. They're not that dramatic, but this system is apparently very sensitive to change. You can modify something small and it has major implications for rank distribution over a long period of time. And that's why I get a little bit worried when people talk about a complete rank overhaul and things like that. If you do very dramatic things to this system, it will change it completely. It might be enough to do a couple of small things and get it, fine-tune it to a point where it's very good, I honestly believe some of the most impactful ways you could help this system don't have anything to do with changing its structure. For example, if you could find more reliable ways of identifying and penalizing cheaters, that could have a big impact. And I'm not talking about somebody who becomes so frustrated during a match that they just turn off their device and walk away in anguish. That's problematic and not a fair thing to do, but I think it's different from somebody who is willing to go into the game files and actually modify the data to improve their rank. If you've gone that far, then honestly I would be completely fine with you being banned from ever playing the game again. And we also get to this issue of balance. I know I've talked about it a lot, but I'm feeling more and more like balance is this foundation that the entire game rests on. When the balance is bad, it really impacts every facet of the game at every level. Rank distribution at the top, it dictates what character and who wins tournaments. But I also saw a forum post the other day with this poor new player who just got the game, is super excited about playing it and specifically about playing Leroy, but then he goes online and sees all these content creators talking about that character, and now he feels like an asshole for using it and he doesn't know what to do. So balance really just damages everything for everybody, and so more rigid penalization for cheaters and better balance coupled with a rank reset I think could filter out a lot of these problems and lead to more healthy distribution overall. But maybe there are some things we need to do about the way points are earned as well. I mean, like we saw when Season 2 came out, that can have a big impact. And one of the main things they did back then was this pity point system. That's my pet name for it. But basically you can, at most ranks, win and lose at a 50-50 ratio, but still gain a positive amount of points over time. The game kind of holds your hand a little bit and boosts you along a tiny bit, all the way up to Fujin, or specifically your Raijin promotion, which is really quite late in the ladder. It's pretty much the second to last color, before you get to the very top ranks. And so looking at that could be something that has major effect in the long term. And I think getting rid of that system completely or reeling it in could be a good idea. Maybe it just helps you along to a certain point, like it helps you get out of green ranks and then you're on your own. That would act as a filter, and I think it would really have trickle down effects for distribution across the whole game and the entire ladder. I obviously don't know, but it's something I'd be more willing to test than a complete overhaul of everything. At the low ranks, one of the problems is it's difficult to find a lot of competition, so it's difficult for you to rank up, and so it's good if you have a system to get you along to a certain point where there's a lot of opposition, a lot of diverse competition for you to play against. On the podcast, we talked a bit about the Tekken Tag 2 system, and some of the guys on the panel seemed to prefer it. In that system, it was pretty much impossible to get to the very max rank in the game, and you can sort of see why that would be preferable. If there's no ceiling, no ultimate finish line that even advanced players can conceivably get to, with maybe few very notable exceptions, then the game is more sustainable in the long run because people will keep playing it. There's always something for them to strive for, and maybe that's what Tekken prowess is supposed to represent, and I guess in that case maybe it has a purpose. But I'm also not sure I want that kind of a system, because I always come back to and think about the day I got Tekken God Prime on Elisa for the first time. That was, to me personally, the most important, impactful promotion for me, because I wanted to get that on a character that I thought wasn't very good, and I wanted to get it on the character that I cared the most about, my favorite character in the game at that moment. And honestly, the day I got that promotion, it was one of the best days of my life. Not because of the promotion. Luckily, my life doesn't revolve around the game to that extent. But what happened was I was playing the game late at night, grinding. I had the TGP promotion and I dropped it. So I had to go to bed frustrated. I woke up the next morning, had my coffee and sat down, and I ran into a player I've played before. We had a death match. I won and I got the promo. And pretty much the same minute I saved that footage, I got a call from one of my friends. They came over in a rented car. We drove out to the beach. I jumped in and swam. We had drinks and food. Drove back in the sunset, went to my girlfriend's house, cooked dinner, watched movies. It was just one of those magical, perfect days with friends that you really remember. But I also realized that one of the reasons I was able to enjoy it and be in the moment so much was I wasn't thinking about video games. I wasn't thinking about getting home, making a video, getting into practice mode, grinding, or anything like that. I think for the first time ever, I had done something that really gave me a sense of true satisfaction in that game, and it was really pretty special. And so I think it's probably important for something like that to at least be reasonably attainable for somebody who really cares, who puts in years of effort, and who becomes very advanced, because otherwise this online grind that is so stressful and can really tear chunks out of you just becomes this hamster wheel that you're constantly running in. So there's some sort of sweet spot in there. I agree that it should be more difficult. I agree that getting to the max rank should mean even more than it does right now. I personally want to push myself even higher, and I'm looking forward to that, but I don't want a system where it's impossible for people to get the max rank either. So I don't know. I think a sweet spot for me that I would like is if you're very advanced and you sink a lot of effort into one character, You should be able to get to the max rank with that character, but maybe not with an alternate character that you don't specialize in. I would love for that to be true, but that is predicated on good balance, because if you're playing a character and you're good with it, but there's this other character that is just so broken that you can win easily with it, it becomes pointless. So it's a difficult and open-ended question. And yeah, I'm sort of rambling on the topic right here, but this video is too long. Maybe I should wrap it up. Let me know what you think about this and what you hope happens in the new season. Let me know what you think Tekken prowess is going to be. And yeah, I'll catch you guys again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.